Another big deal there was a three-team trade. It was a three-team deal, where the Pistons got Rudy McGruger and the 19th pick in this year's draft, which ended up being Sadiq Bey, and the Clippers got Luke Kennard, and the Nets got Landry Shamet. Let's get into my reaction for all three teams. Oh, I like this deal for the Pistons, just because they turned Luke Kennard, who they weren't going to pay in free agency in a year, because his deal is up in next year, and they weren't going to give him an extension. He's been on the trade market for about like a year and a half, something like that, or a year, or he's been on the trade block for a year. So I do like that about it, and you do get a first round pick, and you get Sadiq Bey, who is a very good 3-and-D guy. Not the best 3-and-D guy in the draft, but I do think he's up there in terms of best three-pointer, or best three-point shot. I think Tyrell Terry is the best three-point shooter in this draft, but Sadiq Bey is probably second, and in a lot of people's minds, he is the best shooter in this draft. And I mean, yeah, I can, that's certainly arguable. So I do like that for them. And Rudy McGruger, his contract is a little bit overpaid in terms of statistics, but seems to be a very good teammate. And you need that in a culture that's in a rebuilding team. You need a good culture, and to have a good culture, you need a good teammate. So I mean, it's okay, and it's the last year of his deal, which is next year, because there's 2 more years left in his deal, is non-guaranteed. So it's kind of like an expiring. I guess the one thing you could, from the Pistons side, kind of have a little bit of debate about is whether you think Luke Kennard is worth the extension, which would probably be around $20 million, $18 million, or at least that's probably what he wanted, and that's why they had to trade him. He did have a breakout year last year, and his averages went from 9.7 points to 15.8. He did take a lot more shots. Took 4.4 shots per game more than last year, but he did keep the same shooting percentage. And I mean, in terms of the eye test, he seems to be a pretty good player, and I mean, he's able. Some people think he's able to create. I don't personally think he's that good at creating. Yeah, I guess that's the only debate here. And if I had to make a choice, I would not give him the extension, especially because you're a rebuilding team. And yeah, now let's get on to the Nets side of this. With the Nets, I like this deal for them. Basically, just because they got Shamet, who is able to space the floor very well. Did have a little bit of a down year last year. Shot 375% from three. Every other year before that, he shot above 400% from three. And yeah, he's going to provide spacing. And for a contender that already has 2 All-NBA players, create on offense, spacing will be needed when they get doubled. I mean, have just taken Sadiq Bey and just not done this trade, but you need something proven. And Landry Shamet is proven. You also could have took Desmond Bane here, but Desmond Bane went a lot later in he went at 30. So you could have traded back and then took Desmond Bane, but you need something proven. And I think that was the best move for the Nets here. For the Clippers, this move makes somewhat of sense. I mean, as I said, I don't really believe in Kennard's ability to create, but a lot of people do. He did increase his assists per game from 1.8 to 4.1. So maybe he's able to create more than Shamet wasn't able to create. He was more of a 3-and-D guy. But I mean, I guess your worst case scenario here is that he just is able to be a little bit of a worse shooter than Shamet was. And I guess this makes sense here, just because, I mean, if your worst case scenario here, he's a little worse shooter than Shamet is, and your best case scenario is able to create off the bench or be another creator for for the Clippers, then I mean that's a pretty good deal. My one concern is that they didn't get a defensive big man in the draft, or they got a Ruku, but I mean he's not going to be able to guard all NBA offensive players in the playoffs. Players like Porzingis, Jokic, and Davis. So it doesn't. It's just you need a big. That's your big number one need, and maybe you get someone in free agency. Maybe you get someone like Aaron Baines with your mid level, or Serge Ibaka maybe. But yeah, you need a defensive big, and it's a huge need for them. And yeah. So in summary, the Clippers, I didn't totally hate this deal for them. It was pretty okay for them. The Pistons, I love this deal for them. And the Nets, I love this deal for them as well. That's all. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe.